Thank you for attending this pre-recorded video session. Please state your mutation one at a time.
Like our mutant mutation.
Correct.
My mutation is my eyeballs get really sloppy. Like they can come out of my eyes, and I can put them places. Like I can stick them to a wall, and still see out of them. That's my mutation. I don't want to
Correct.
show you. It hurts when I do, so I don't want to show you.
Correct. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Please state your mutation.
Yeah. When I tell a lie, my nose gets longer.
Incorrect. Please
No?
state your mutation.
Don't you see how my nose just got longer when I said that?
I cannot communicate as I am a pre-recorded message.
You're communicating
It
great.
kind of feels
for,
like you're communicating.
pre-recorded
Okay,
message.
you really want to know my real mutation then, huh?
Yes, please state your mutation.
Okay. This is really personal. Jared, if you could plug your ears,
No,
I'd appreciate that.
I can't.
Okay. All right. That's
But I
fine.
can plug
Is that-
my eyes.
My mutation is that I have heterochromia, so one of my eyes is a different color, and I wear a contact lens to cover it up to make them both the same color.
Correct. Thank you for stating your mutation.
Yeah.
We both have eye
if you could
mutations.
not tell anyone about that, I would really
No,
appreciate
come
it.
on. I need more. There's dozens of us, Niall. Dozens.
Yeah, there's not a ton of people.
We
in
need
the
more.
eye
We need better
mutation
representation in the eye mutant.
game. Wait!
game.
I think the pre-recorded tape is about to go again.
Oh, okay.
You have eye goop and heterochromia mutations.
That's true.
You both
Yeah.
qualify for a cure.
Oh
I don't know if I want to be.
no,
cured.
I'm good. I like my. I mean, again,
feel
it
like
hurts,
this
so I don't
kinda,
use it
you know,
often. But
is part of who I am.
You
But yeah,
both
I'm
must
special.
qualify for a cure.
Okay. Also, when I said that I had heterochromia, my nose grew like an inch.
Please insert $1,000.
Oh, we must.
wait,
do
we
that?
have to pay you to be cured?
Please insert $1,000 or this gun
right,
will
I
shoot
think
your
I-
neck.
Oh no, I didn't even know.
Where'd that gun come from?
Okay. All right. Listen.
Okay, no, okay, it's okay, it's okay. I'll give you $1,000 and you can
Yeah.
remove my eye goop.
I've got.
Please
$1,000
insert
right
$1,000.
Okay, I'm
immediately.
inserting it.
US
dude.
dollars.
I have it in
Correct,
20s.
correct.
It's gonna take.
Can I
Your
do
machine
some,
only takes
some on
one
a card
bill
and
at a
some with
time.
cash?
Please insert $1,000 immediately.
Yeah, I don't think he really
Again,
cares.
can I
how
do?
you
Okay,
get it
well,
paid.
yeah, I'll just,
I
I'll
only
just do
have
credit.
$20
I'll just do
bills,
credit.
and this slot only takes one bill at a time. So this is gonna take a little
It's
bit.
gonna- See, I've got a platinum reward credit card, and I think actually
All right,
this
well,
would qualify me for
I don't know
some
if this
cash
is when you
back.
need to be bringing that up. But
Well,
that's
I think
fine.
some of our audience wants to know about financial hacks. Okay, so I'm gonna tap to pay.
Thank
Okay,
you,
I'm
Platinum Reward member.
$200 in.
You
Oh,
are
see?
exempt
What?
from the cure. You may leave.
Oh,
I'm
you
exempt,
don't even have
see?
to take it.
Wait,
All right.
wait, I was paying to not take the cure.
No.
You were paying to take the cure, but
Oh,
now
but-
that you're a Platinum Rewards member, they're not going to force you.
Oh,
I'm at $460,
Sweet.
by the way, so just give me one more second.
I got $50 cash back.
If I show you on the thing that I have all of the money, can you start doing it now while I'm still putting it in?
Yes, a
look,
representative will
here's the
fetch
rest
the
of the-
cash from you.
Oh, there's a why did I put all that in the slot then?
Please
hello.
accept this syringe.
All right, thank you. No,
Please.
the rest of it I already put in.
Please,
yeah,
please,
You counted
please,
on the other side.
Please, please.
Yeah. What do you
please.
want?
Hey,
What?
if
Please.
you want, I
In-
can give you a referral for the card, and then I can also get some points with that.
Listen, man, I feel confident that I'm not going to make it through whatever is in this syringe.
Oh, yeah,
so
sorry.
Maybe
Well-
wait until after.
Okay.
The cure is harmless. Please insert syringe into eyeball affected
Again,
by heterochromia.
Eyeball. I don't want to. Well, which one do you think is affected? You know.
The black one.
Oh, okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
the contact's not great, man.
I listen. I'm doing what I can.
I can't watch. Ah.
Oh, it hurts. It burns.
Well done. You have been
Ah.
cured of your mutation. Would you like to
Ow.
apply for a Platinum Rewards card?
See, use my referral link. Use my referral
I-
link.
Would you like to use
Yeah,
referral link
there's a referral link that I would-
Jared2024?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I want to use.
You have been pre-approved for a credit line of $10,000.
Wow.
10,000.
Yo,
Wow,
that's pretty
a
good. That's a good limit.
That's a good
Would you
limit.
like
Mine's
to
higher,
accept
but
this
that's good.
offer?
Starting. What?
Would you like to accept this offer?
If there's like terms and conditions that I could read beforehand,
No,
I would appreciate
No, thank
that.
you.
All right. Well,
I'll split.
yeah,
I'll
sure.
split the cash back
Will you
that I get.
co-sign with me? Oh, you're.
Oh, I won't co-sign
Oh, you're
with
gonna.
you. No, but
Alright.
I will give over
You'll
some.
split.
Yeah, I'll
Some
split
of
the
the
rewards
referral
that I
bonus
get.
that you get.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Sure. I guess I accept.
Yeah.
So
Thank
that
you.
I can start
You
the
have been
episode.
approved for a $10,000 credit line with your
Dude,
Platinum Reward card.
The feeling that I have in my stomach right now after agreeing to that is not a good indicator of how that's going to go.
No,
I
it's
feel
good.
like I made a bad decision.
Your credit line has been maxed out. Would you like to apply for a higher
Maxed
credit
out by
limit?
what?
Hey, I got $25. I'll split that with you,
Maxed out by
Niall.
what? What happened?
Please, would you like to apply for a higher credit limit?
I haven't even used the thing.
Well, if you're that means you're out of your limit.
We
so
appreciate your
you
tip
probably
of
want to sign up
$10,000.
I didn't give you a tip. I didn't agree to a tip unless that was in some terms and conditions that you didn't let me see.
Yes, thank you very much. We hope you enjoy your cured mutation. Have a wonderful day.
Dude,
more. I
no.
basically earned like $75 today.
Yeah.
I only had to spend $1,000.
Dude, I don't feel good or happy about what just happened. So I guess we'll start the episode.
Welcome back to another episode of Man Cave Movie
Hey-o.
Night.
Hey.
Sorry,
You're
I
always
was late.
10,000 in the hole. Oh,
Sorry,
yeah.
I was late.
Lucas,
There
we
was
just went through
traffic.
this
I just
whole
had to go to
thing.
the bathroom. I'm not sure
Yeah,
what
dude.
happened. What was going on with you
This
guys?
like HAL 9000 type beat was on, making us talk about our mutations,
Hey,
which we don't even
We
have.
don't have
I've
mutations.
never had a
Oh, you don't
It
have-
was a weird thing.
oh,
No, we're
Do
not.
you have a mutation?
Do
What's
you?
yours?
no, I don't have a mutation.
No,
I've
we're
always
all human
I've always
men.
wished
Can I roll
I had
an
a
insight
mutation.
check on that?
You can give me
Yeah, but you have
$10,000
to get a nat
and I'll
20.
tell you.
All right, I don't have dice nearby,
Well, then I guess you
so I
can.
don't know why I brought that up.
Lucas, while we're on the topic, you should sign up for a credit card and
Oh.
use my referral link. I'll get
Oh
$25.
yeah, dude. Wait, no, use my referral link. I desperately need you to use
Which
that.
credit card
Any-
Mm-hmm.
is it?
It's
any
the
amount
Platinum Rewards
The Platinum
Pro.
Rewards bonus.
Okay.
Cool X.
Yeah, I'll use your card.
Card.
Your code there, Jared.
Please use mine,
Yay!
dude.
No, come on. I
I'm
asked
$10,000 in
I
debt.
just got
because of the
approved
tip.
for
Hey,
credit
make
line
sure
of
that
$25,000.
make sure that it doesn't.
Guys, I just got
25,000. Make sure that it
$25.
doesn't include a tip or anything before you click accept, because I'm $10,000 in the hole.
Let me double check. No, yeah, it says ready to go ahead and use it however you'd like.
Sweet.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
The
Hey,
cashbacks are great. I spent $1,000 today. I got $50 back,
Nice, that is great.
and then I got $25 from Niall signing up. Then $25 from you signing up. So now I'm like,
Which also
100
Jared
bucks
told
up.
me that he would split that 25, and I still have
oh,
not seen
sorry.
a penny
Yeah,
of it.
I'll send it to you. Should I just send it to you, the account linked to the card that you have?
I guess.
Just like start reducing that balance. Okay, I'll send you.
Can I
$13.
can I get half
Okay.
of mine split too?
Okay, I'll give you $13 as well.
Woohoo!
Right.
There we go, baby.
All right.
Pretty good.
Feeling
Have
good.
either of you guys watched X-Men 97?
Yeah, so I was just talking about
yeah,
how
I
I
watched that.
wish I had a mutation, like an X-Man mutation, but I don't,
Yeah.
which is a bummer. But you know who does have
Yeah,
X-Men
neither
mutations?
do I. My nose grows again.
You know who does have X-Men mutations?
What?
It is
take a
the
guess.
X-Men,
That was my
Yeah.
because they're
Ah,
mutants.
they do, don't they?
So here's a fun.
Dude, this episode sucks.
No, it's cool and interesting.
No, it's good. This is what the audience came for is some good improv
So,
based around financial
Financial
credit
mutation.
limits and cards and rewards.
So, yeah, now that we've
So
watched
what?
X-Men 97 and that it's out, the whole first season, we should talk about it and how cool the mutations are and which credit card each character probably has qualified for.
Yeah.
What's your favorite? What's a Here's my first question before we actually talk about X-Men 97.
Yeah.
Pitch a mutation that's not in the.
That's
X-Men
what I was
line.
going for with the mutation thing at the beginning.
Well, yeah, but you didn't give
Oh,
us
you
enough
didn't
time
give
to
us-
think of something.
I'm gonna stick
and
with
then I
mine.
pitched a really good one, and then you used
That
the
is-
old improv adage of no.
I said
but that
no
was taken.
and though. I said no
You
and
did
though.
say no and.
No,
which
and
is
try
nice.
again.
No and give me a different answer, and my second answer was not funny.
I liked your first answer a lot.
Yeah, it was
It
funny.
was really funny. Because Pinocchio is definitely a
He's an X-Man.
mutant. I do like my mutant power that I came up with.
Yeah,
You
Goop
can
Eyes is cool.
Take your eye out and put it someplace and
yeah, I
spy.
think that's pretty
And then
sick.
come back and pick it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only downside.
It's a
It's
two
because someone would be like, "Is there an eyeball on my desk?"
And then just crush it.
and you'd be
and it
like,
doesn't
no.
My eyeball.
You'd be wrapped up in the curtains of their office, and you would go, no, there's no eyeball on your desk.
And if they crush it and it dies, it doesn't grow back. Like it doesn't regenerate. It's not like a
No.
Wolverine.
Yeah,
eyeball.
they're two
Yeah.
single-use
I
eyeballs.
have two. Maybe I could do them in my ears as well or something.
Yeah, every
Oh, that'd
appendage.
be-
your
just for
nose.
all of your senses,
Just
you can leave.
take-
You can leave a strip of your skin somewhere and feel when somebody touches it.
Ugh.
Or when someone
Like
walks
on a-
in.
I tape my skin to a door frame so when it opens and tears, I can.
Yeah,
Ah, they just walked in the door. Ah!
Or you could put
There's
your
gotta
butt
be
somewhere
another better
and do
way
a
to do
fart.
that.
Do a fart.
I think. I think
Like a whoopee cushion,
Yeah, you
but
can
just my
do a
butt.
fart, but
Yeah.
actual fart. I think that moving your senses and being able to place your senses in places is a pretty cool
It is cool.
mutation.
I agree.
That is
Pretty
cool.
sweet.
I would want
What
the
about you, Lucas?
I would want the mutation of being able to have a hand that could turn into a credit card and it would successfully work and no credit limit, infinite credit, and you never have to pay it back.
Oh, you do? Okay,
That's
you don't
a
have
cool
to pay it back.
mutation.
But-
That's a cool
I thought you were
genetic
gonna say-
mutation.
There's no
down-
limit.
the downside
but you
is-
do have to pay it back. It's just like you're
Downside- That's someone else's mutation.
To the double
That's
helix
another,
bank.
yeah.
Someone
That's
else's
someone else
mutation
has
is,
that
has to
mutation.
pay off.
Someone else's
crippling
mutation
debt.
is they have to pay
Pay
off
off
your
my
debt.
debt. Yeah.
Your unlimited
Wow.
debt.
They just
That's your
have
twin. It's twin mutants. One that gets unlimited credit and one that has to pay it all back.
Equal amount debt.
And so the other downside of having that mutation is there's no credit card number, so you have to use it in person. Like you have to morph your hand, and then people see
Oh.
you use it. Like it always goes through, and the vendor gets paid, but they're always like, that's a little suspicious that his hand
They're
just
like,
turned
you're
into
definitely a mutant, right? With the power of some sort of unlimited credit.
and then just stick it in. Unlimited credit for me.
Yeah, an unlimited limited credit limit.
My twin has the mutation of unlimited debt.
It's a cool cool combo.
But the debt manifests itself as sores on his back. Big
Ugh.
bloody sores.
Gross.
You,
But he
of
still
course,
has
found
to
a
pay
way
it
to
back
make
with
us
real
both
money.
wince.
He has to
I'll
pay
say
it back
this.
with real money, and then the sores start to go away.
There, in all the X-Men like shows and movies and stuff, there really is just a spectrum of just goated, awesome, useful powers, and then Porcupine Man. You know what I mean? Like,
There's
where
always
it's-
something like that.
There's
you know,
always
like
some-
my mutation is I just look weird and nobody can physically touch me.
Yeah, totally.
That sucks.
I think a cool mutation would be to be able to, like, at the opposite of Rogue, of like leeching people's powers, I would want to be able to enhance other people's powers.
That'd be sick.
So like basically my ability as an X-Men would be to be like the limitless pill for other people, where I could like increase their brain power and make them be like the best version
Access
of
their
their
IQ.
mutant. Yeah. Also, I think I'm going to make a statement right now. I want to hear what y'all think about it. I'm talking overpowered mutants from X-Men 97. Dude,
Okay.
Morph 1,000,000% is so OP. He can just have the powers of anything that he wants whenever.
Yeah.
So
That's
here's
crazy.
here's his actual mutations limits, because that is actually a very fair point. He inherits the physical attributes of whoever he transforms into.
Okay, so he can't turn into Professor X.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then, like, do
Exactly.
that.
Okay.
So that's
But
why
he can be
can-
Angel with wings.
exactly
Or Quicksilver.
or
the
Quicksilver
Hulk.
With legs.
Yeah, or Hulk or Spiral with the 6 arms, which is
Dude,
why you see that.
I nodded off in the episode where he turns into Quicksilver, and so when I woke up, I was like, "Whoa, Quicksilver showed up! What's going on?"
Yeah.
Oh, spoilers for X-Men '97 from here on out.
Yeah.
Shoot it, man.
Fair point. It was interesting how they kind of used him as a vehicle for cameos. It was just like,
Yeah.
hey, here are
Yeah,
these characters
totally.
that were in the old show.
We're gonna put the Hulk into this fight.
Like they're
Yeah.
in the world.
Yeah, they're in the world, so
His power
It-
works for them, but
and to be
they're not
fair-
in the show.
it makes a lot of sense for him to access and use those
Totally.
powers in the
Totally.
context. Like, it was always like, oh, hey, I need to have wings, so I'm going to turn into Angel and fly to safety. Or I need to punch this Sentinel, so I'm going to turn into Hulk. Like, it never felt forced to me.
Totally.
Versus, like,
I loved it.
I don't know if you guys watched Secret Invasion, where that final fight,
Where
she is
Emilia
like
Clarke turns
Emilia
into
Clarke just
everything.
morphs into unnecessary, like Drax's arm.
It's
and-
like you already did a Hulk
You
thing.
did a
Why are
Hulk,
you
why-
now
yeah.
using Drax's arm, which
Yeah.
is just less strong
a
Hulk?
worse version of that, exactly. So it didn't feel like that at all. It felt really cool and great. And yeah, it was fun kind of seeing some of those characters like manifest in that form, and then later, like, because I think Dazzler is one of the characters, and Dazzler shows up on Genosha. So there are a couple that are morphed into and then show up later in the show too, which is kind of fun.
Yeah.
And Mike could show up in the future because season 2
could.
is already deep, like fully written, voice recorded. They're just animating it right now, which
on.
is great news because
That's dope.
it'd be cool to get another season next year. But honestly, I'm totally fine to wait because this was awesome. Well worth the
Yeah.
wait from when they announced it.
It was sweet.
Yeah, should we go
It
over
was
just
so
some
cool.
like general
General
thoughts
thoughts?
now that we've dipped into spoilers?
Yes.
I would love
What'd
to
you
go
guys
into
think?
general thoughts.
Let's just go
Bad.
general thoughts.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
No, on
If the animation
watching the
was good,
first
then I might
episode, on watching the first episode, I was kind of shocked at how well they captured like the Saturday morning cartoon vibe.
Totally.
You know, of just like whenever Beast would talk about something sciency, he would just kind of throw out some bull jargon that like means nothing but is good enough, and you're just like, all right, great, right
Yeah,
on.
totally
Like,
got it. Yep.
And it like they capture the feel of basically the story is important. A lot of kind of how you get there is a little less important, but they focus on just like, here's what's happening right now. And here's what every character wants. And every character's desires are very clearly laid out. We're not really trying to like take this to a deeper level or connect it to a larger universe or anything. It was just kind of like, okay, we left off. We're going to pick back up. If you know what's going on, great. If you haven't watched any of the X-Men animated series, you're going to be fine.
you're gonna be fine.
Still going to understand what's going on, you know. You might be a little confused by the Professor X episode, but like you'll catch up and be fine.
Yeah.
And it really like it just kind of made me feel like a kid, you know,
Yeah.
sitting up watching cartoons. Everyone is cool. Everyone has cool moments. You don't really feel like they even somehow made me not absolutely despise Jubilee, which is an accomplishment because in all of the seasons of the original series, Jubilee is just a waste of space and time. And she still kind of is, but not as bad.
No, boo.
So, no. I don't have that strong of feelings against Jubilee, but yeah, I think they kind of just hit the nail on the head. They kept the feel of the old one while using modern technologies to kind of level up the stuff
Make it
that
look
makes
good.
the old one feel dated, you know?
Yeah,
For sure.
totally. Yeah, I'll throw in my 2 cents. Bloop, bloop. That was me throwing them in.
Ding, ding.
Splash.
They both come back out the coin return
Whoa.
because they're counterfeit.
Oh no! I mean, it only takes 25 cents or higher. That's lame.
That makes sense.
I liked it a lot. I like the show quite a bit. I think this is the best thing Disney has made on Disney Plus, and I would stand by that even against like The Mandalorian, or like any of the Marvel shows.
You gotta watch
the Star
Andor,
Wars
bro.
shows. That's true. I've watched half of it, and I've tried to pick it up again, but I just need to start over from the
The
beginning.
same thing happened with me when I watched it. To be fair, I just kind of fell off in the middle of it.
I
and
thought
then
the first
picked it back
episode
up
was so
and
sick.
loved it. You know, yeah,
And then I like kept watching a couple more, and then kind of fizzled out,
yeah,
and then tried to pick it back up. So I just need to go back and start from the beginning and just
totally.
slam
But
it.
I don't mean to. I don't mean
But-
to turn this into an Andor conversation.
No, it's okay. Of all of it, I really do think this is the first thing that I've watched that feels so incredibly fresh.
Oh,
and
yeah.
new and exciting. Like it had a vision and it executed it perfectly. Right, the vision was Sunday morning '90s cartoons, and that is so present in each episode. That vibe overall. Plus, you have really, really awesome fight scenes that are inventive, right?
Oh, totally.
And like you said, they do cameos really well. So there's a lot of fan service, but it's not just thrown down my throat. When characters from other comics show up, it's really cool, but it really doesn't feel forced. It just felt like they had such an alive world with these cool powers. And it was a little campy, but in the best ways, right? To me, my X-Men. Every time they said that, you just kind of get chills. And I'm not the biggest X-Men fan.
I am.
And so I'm like, just as a casual fan, it was just so exciting.
Yeah,
So I'm convinced.
it's the magic.
Also,
of,
I want to say one other thing.
yeah. Sorry, I'm delayed.
It's the magic of what?
No. You keep going.
It's the magic
the
of
magic of what? You gotta
Disney.
say it. You can't leave us hanging, bro.
All right, fine. I was gonna say it's the magic of Saturday
what's the
morning
magic of?
cartoons. That basically,
Yeah.
when you're
Yeah, we've
watching a
covered that.
Saturday morning cartoon, no. But what I'm saying is, when you're watching a Saturday morning cartoon, it is the most important thing. Like they find a way to make that be.
Yeah.
This is what you're focused on. Like Earth's Mightiest Heroes, Avengers. It's like out of nowhere, the Avengers are my favorite thing, and I want to know everything about, all of these characters. Same with X-Men. It's like, even if you don't care about X-Men, while you're watching this show, you feel like you love the X-Men, and they are the most important thing. Saturday morning cartoons figured out how to do that, and they kind of needed to, because if you didn't, you would change the channel to something else. And this just like totally captured that same vibe of like, I don't know much about the X-Men. I feel like I do while I'm watching the show,
Yeah, totally. I think
Definitely.
another thing is, for me, they really captured the spirit and the essence of each character on more of a comic book level, and it felt so detached from what we've seen in Fox and what we've seen in the MCU, right? And so, like, when we'll say Captain America shows up, it didn't feel like, Chris Hemsworth version of Captain America. It felt like a true kind of comic representation
Yeah.
of that character. Same with like Wolverine, who we've seen the most out of any character, like basically period, and from comics. This was a full different version of Wolverine than I'm used to.
Yeah.
And I really love that. I love seeing these more true to the X-Men source material canon.
And he's not the main
and it-
character.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was not the main character. It's very refreshing, and I loved him as a side character.
Yeah.
So,
I
those are my general thoughts, I think.
I saw a meme that was the astronauts, and it was like, the one guy was like, wait, Wolverine is the simp loser and Cyclops is the cool guy? And then the other guy,
Like,
it
always has
always
been.
has been. Yeah. I thought that was pretty funny. Because I grew up totally thinking like, Cyclops is such a loser and
Dude, sure.
Wolverine's
Yeah.
the cool one. But that's just not
No,
at all how it
Cyclops
is in the
Is
animated series.
Sick.
Yeah.
He's got two
So
redhead
cool.
honeys.
Oh yeah,
So cool.
his twin babes.
So Lucas, our resident super fan of
The biggest
Of the
fan.
X-Men.
X-Boys,
The
what do you think?
I loved it, man. It was just so good. It definitely is my favorite thing that Disney has made. And it's, I mean, like, thinking about the Marvel movies as well, like, there are some that I, like, love, but none as much as the X-Men. Like, the X-Men are just my team. And I just love that they are finally getting their day in the sun. I mean, we've had plenty of movies that have been really good. But this just feels like on another level, partially because Disney owns the IP again, and so they can produce merchandise and all this stuff. And so people are starting to wear X-Men stuff, and people are just, like, especially with the show, it was, like, pretty pop culture. Like, it was referenced in stuff, and people were watching it. People were actively engaged for the full 10 weeks that it was airing. And it just does such a good job of capturing, exactly what you guys were saying, the Saturday morning, but also just the vibe of the X-Men, what they're supposed to be about. Like, it just does such an excellent job of showing the dynamics of these characters and showing that, like, hey, Cyclops is a really cool character, and so is Jean Grey, and so is Storm, and so are these other X-Men you probably haven't heard of.
Jubilee?
Like, I mean, Jubilee was...
Jubilee sucks.
Jubilee and Sunspot's arc was probably my least favorite, but I still
That
liked
was a
it.
waste of time.
I
No,
still
it
liked
was-
it. Like,
I liked it.
I liked the...
I like
I know.
I like the
It's a
Mojo
comparative waste of time.
I like the Mojo stuff.
I mean,
liked-
the video game part was my least favorite part, but
Yeah,
it was
that
only
was
like
the same.
10, 15
yeah, it was
minutes,
not
whatever.
even a full episode.
Yeah.
And it was also like it was still
It was
fun.
still- it was fun.
It just
Yeah,
didn't
exactly.
feel like it mattered very much.
It
Yeah,
kind of evolved
definitely.
their characters and their relationship. But
Yeah, it was wild how much they stuffed into this season in terms of X-Men
It
stories.
was crazy, dude.
So
It was like
much.
4 stories per episode.
It was crazy, and none of
It
it
was
felt
nuts.
rushed as well. It all felt
Yeah.
like it was. They just did a very good job of adapting these huge themes and stuff from the comics, and saying like, "Hey, look, here's Bastion, here's Mister Sinister, here's like Forge." Like, I liked how they were including X-Men characters that had not appeared in the movies at all, or in a prevalent role, like Forge, like Morph, like Gambit, Jubilee, Sunspot. Like, it was really cool saying, hey, here was the roster from the comics in the 90s or the show in the 90s, and here's them. Here's the main characters, like, especially with Jean Grey and Cyclops, just them really getting their moments in the sun was just, glorious. Because those characters are the coolest parts of the comics and the shows. And, I mean, man, I would say X-Men 1 and 2, like the ones from the early 2000s, are great. The bummer, though, is that they both die in X-Men 3, The Last Stand. And because of
Spoilers
that,
for X-Men 3,
it made
The
it
Last
so
Stand.
that they never showed up like in Days of Future Past or whatever else subsequent, like that came after those movies.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, Storm and like Professor X and Magneto came back, and Wolverine, those two died.
even Rogue.
Rogue, we got some
Rogue,
sort of action.
Even our dear sweet honey
Dear sweet
Rogue.
Rogue.
Dear Sweet Rogue.
Man.
And it was just amazing. I loved it so much. I can't wait for more. It's just glorious. Glorious.
Same, I think with the pacing that you're talking about and how crammed things feel, it really does feel like you're picking up an issue from a comic with each episode, because each issue has some sort of overarching thing a lot of the time, but it has to be a self-contained
Yeah.
story where, characters are being involved, or there's a villain that just shows up and fights the team for a second,
Yeah.
or big reveal, Jean Grey's a clone, that kind of stuff. Like, I loved that. I loved
And
how
what
what a roller coaster of
Yeah.
just pure comic vibes it was.
Absolutely.
with a comic book, it's like no panel space can be wasted.
Yeah.
Like, especially when you're putting them out in issues like that, it's like, we can't spend all this time in exposition, so we'll toss some exposition in during a really cool fight or something like that. And the show had that down, just kind of like, we'll give you the information when you need it, and other than that, we're just going to keep doing cool stuff. And
Totally.
I loved that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'll ask kind of our maybe a first little discussion question, but who was your favorite character represented in this? Like, or were there like maybe 2 standouts for you? Because obviously the whole roster is great, and everyone is so good at representing that like character. It's, in my opinion, they're all so good at their individual roles, you know. So maybe there's not one standout, but I don't know. For you guys, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I want to shout out voice actor Ross Marquand
Ross.
Was the
Shout out
voice
Ross.
of. He was the voice of Professor X. He is
And
kind of
Apocalypse.
like. And Apocalypse. He is kind of Marvel's like go-to impersonator.
Yeah.
He was the voice of Red Skull in Endgame and Infinity War, or I guess
And the body too.
yeah, both and the
He's in
body
both, yeah.
because Hugo Weaving wouldn't come back to do it, and so he does a perfect impersonation of Hugo
Amazing,
Weaving's
yeah.
Red Skull, and he does a perfect impersonation. I don't even know the guy that does Professor X, but he sounds exactly like him, and it's just he's done a bunch of other stuff for Marvel and outside of Marvel, but. Wanted to shout that out before we moved on. Just like, Ross, we see you. We love what you're
Yeah,
doing.
we shout you
Big
out.
up to
brother.
Ross.
On that, though, I really think that, Magneto has to be up at the top. Like, I love how this season of this show really showed how, the original kind of like meanings of the characters Professor X and Magneto were kind of like the Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, and they both had the same goal. And I think a lot of the time, like, it's easy to just kind of separate Professor X and Magneto out and like good guy, bad guy. But this season really did show that, like, first of all, they were brothers and they loved each other. And Professor X, like, never lost that for Magneto. But then also, Magneto never lost that for Professor X either. And he's like,
Yeah.
okay, I've been given this. I'm genuinely going to try to do a good job. But then by the end, it's just like kind of fundamental differences drive them apart again. And it makes it, not only does it make what happens in this season more tragic, but it retroactively bolsters all of the other seasons of the show by strengthening that kind of like
That bond.
tragic element of their relationship. When you go back now, like, that developed so much of their backstory that already gets touched on a lot in those other seasons. Not to, I'm not meaning to take that away, but it does a really good job of reminding you that Magneto's on kind of the wrong side and he's not doing it the right way, but he's not like a bad, evil guy. He's just working for a good goal in a way that the X-Men disagree with,
Yeah.
And I think they crushed it with his approach this whole season. Plus, my sister-in-law really liked Magneto because when he was in his helmetless outfit, she said
House
he
of
is
M.
100% wearing a drag costume right now. Like gloves that go
True.
up to like past his biceps and the
The
tight
locks and
Huge
everything.
sleeveless
Yeah,
shirt
long
and the
hair.
pants. She was like, he's in drag. 100% he's in drag. I was like, after that it kind of ruined it for me a little bit. So I was like, no, he definitely
Ruined
is.
or enhanced.
Enhanced greatly.
But yeah, Magneto's for sure my highlight of this season.
Sick.
Yeah,
great
Magneto was amazing. I also kind of like how with the whole Genosha getting murked by the Sentinels, it's like, Charles's approach, while the peaceful approach and typically more good, also is not perfect because ultimately humans and they just want to be hurting mutants and killing them.
Yeah.
And so they did a good job of kind of balancing those two approaches and
Yeah.
showing the pros and cons of each. And then for me, my favorite character was Cyclops. He was just so awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Just the whole way through.
Oh.
Everything
When
he did.
When he lands with the laser and then the 3-point landing, you're like, dude,
First episode.
how is any other hero cooler than
I know,
Cyclops? Like,
amazing.
there's no way.
Another one of my favorites who really got his time to shine, who has long been one of my favorites, is Gambit. Gambit was awesome
Yeah.
in this show.
Yeah, bro.
And his power utilization was just awesome. Him supercharging Wolverine's claws, obviously, like when he dies and supercharging the whole thing and blowing
that gave
it up.
me chills,
Amazing.
dude.
Amazing
when he
use of
charged
his
the
powers.
claws.
Just really
so
good
cool.
representation of that character.
Yeah.
It'll be cool to see. I'm sure he'll come back as one of the Heralds of Apocalypse the Horseman.
Yeah.
Horseman, yeah.
In season 2 as Death, probably is what they was implying. So
cool.
I'm excited for that. I thought his death was very well done as well. Like
Yeah, totally.
I liked how it lasted. Like it's like, hey, he actually died and he's gone for the rest of the season. If they bring him back with Apocalypse in season 2, I can totally forgive that because that's another big part of the X-Men is they always die and come back. That's kind of their whole thing.
I think every single character of this cast at some point in the show has died.
yeah.
And come like that's just kind of how it works.
That's how it goes.
Somehow doesn't take away from the impact of their
No.
deaths, though.
No, it's still
Like,
awesome. It's still very cool.
Yeah.
I think, my favorite to see when he showed up, I was very happy. Is Nightcrawler.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
same.
dude,
just-
yeah, Nightcrawler got some
What a
good.
what a cool intro episode as well. Because I mean, every time he's teleporting like people to safety or I don't know. He has so many cool moments in the show. There's not a lot of emotional depth or anything like there is with Magneto or Cyclops.
There was some when he talks about
there is
Mystique
some.
with Rogue. Pretty
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Which I think the other character that really was a standout for me was Rogue.
Nice. There you go.
I'm not very familiar with the comic character outside of the X-Men trilogy, really, honestly. And she just kind of is a scared little girl who touches people and they die. Aw. So seeing her fly around and punch the crap out of people and
Dude, yeet
just
Captain
like-
America's shield.
yeah, absolutely yeet Captain America's shield and just absolutely just own. There's this the fight at the end, like the big finale fight against Robot Boy.
Bastard.
She starts punching him and then she goes and does this clap attack.
Oh, dude,
Yeah.
And it
sick.
just her whole thing is so cool. Her
sick.
interrogation, everything. She's just rage filled, and I loved it.
Yeah, she was awesome. Also, just
Jubilee.
Southern Rogue.
Oh, sorry.
Southern Rogue is what we all deserve.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, yeah.
you
Southern
don't get her
Belle.
in the movies,
Southern
but
Belle Rogue.
the
Yeah.
Southern Belle Rogue. That's just like
And Gambit from Louisiana.
what I love about Rogue. That's different in the movies that I don't really like in the movies is. And they had to do this, I get it. But in the movies, she's really scared and timid and nervous and basically doesn't want to be around people. I like that this version of Rogue kind of combats the difficulties of her powers rather than by being shy and nervous, by being hyper aggressively interactive with other people. And she's instead of being shy around people, she kind of almost tries to scare people away a little bit with a really strong personality. And I just love it, dude. Rogue rules.
Yeah.
She's the best.
It feels like also the romantic pair-ups are very much whose mutant powers can counter the other mutant's powers.
Yep.
Yeah,
Totally.
Just the fact that
Totally.
the Cyclops lasers can be subdued by Jean Grey, and also Rogue's life drain touch can be subdued
By Magneto.
Magneto.
Yeah.
By the electromagnetic field.
Yeah,
surrounding
bull
them.
crap,
whatever.
whatever that
It's
means.
okay.
I guess.
Very comic feeling.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
totally.
Well,
It doesn't have to make sense. Whatever.
yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah.
And here's the thing too, we kind of to go back with the whole cameo thing and especially the last couple episodes where, especially the last episode, those cameos were sick. Like Daredevil
Yeah,
and
dude.
Doctor Strange. I was like, nice, this is cool.
And Peter Parker and Mary Jane, which is a huge thing from the Spider-Man animated series, but we can talk about that later.
Yeah,
Yeah. You had Black
Cloak and
Panther,
Dagger
not
as well, yeah.
T'Challa,
Black
but
Panther.
T'Chaka,
Dude.
I think it was.
Cloak and Dagger showing up.
Cloak and
was
Dagger?
sick.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck?
It was
From the
awesome.
CW?
Yeah, ooh, finally.
Or whatever they're from.
But that
knows?
is
Who
also
knows?
very
don't know.
indicative of what the comics were like in the 90s. The comics
Totally.
will always have been and probably always will be X-Men rule. And there was that little time period where Disney tried to sideline the X-Men, but it's like, no, people want X-Men. Yes, the Avengers are popular now because of the movies, but in the 90s, the Avengers IP was worthless. No one cared about the Avengers. All the Avengers crap that was coming out, it was in space, and it was Captain America, like Star Fox and Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch, like the roster was pretty weak and people just did not care about those characters at all. And the X-Men, it was like the best time to be reading X-Men because this was like when they had their classic perfect costumes. They had really cool stories constantly coming out. And so, that representation of like, oh, hey, Iron Man is in it for a half second and he has no lines. That's basically what the comics were like. There was like, yeah, we know who kind of these characters are, but the ones we care about are the X-Men. And so them showing up and just getting this like moment to shine is just awesome.
Well, and it's interesting because in that era, Marvel was kind of a failing company.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't doing well. They were going out of business.
They were owned by Toy
The
Biz.
reason we got the
interesting
Avengers
fact.
movies is because those are the characters that basically Marvel couldn't sell because studios
Exactly.
didn't want them because they weren't
No one
big
wanted
enough
them.
to make a movie themselves. They got
Blade
rid of
and
the
Ghost
X-Men.
Rider were more desirable
Yeah,
than Iron Man and
they-
Captain America.
They got rid of the X-Men not because they didn't want them, but because the X-Men would give them enough money to stay open.
To keep going.
Where selling Iron Man would have maybe paid rent for a month or something, But it's really interesting to think like back then the X-Men truly were like the cornerstone of what Marvel had to offer.
And Fantastic
you know?
Four, like Fox bought the rights to both of them, and then Sony
Yeah.
has Spider-Man, and so it's like, everyone else, little whatevers here and there, but by and large, those Avengers adjacent characters, were totally worthless.
Also, speaking of the classic costumes, I loved the interaction with Cable, I think in the last episode when he gives him the outfit and Cable's like, what, is there a circus in town or something? And then Cyclops is like, what were you expecting? Black leather?
I
And it's
love
just like
that.
the total opposite of the line from the X-Men movie, dude. Oh, it was awesome.
It was great. People
I loved it.
People rag on those X-Men movies for using the leather, but I'm a defender. It would have been really
it looks
hard
cool.
to have sold that movie with them
At that time.
In spandex.
in
When
spandex.
superhero movies weren't
Yeah.
like ruling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's cool seeing Wolverine in the yellow now. I love it so much. And they probably could have implemented that earlier. But for that first X-Men movie in 2000, it makes sense for them to use leather. Like, there's still the elements. There's the X's. Like, Wolverine has the things on his side. Cyclops still has his, face headgear.
Yeah. Maybe could have done with a little less leather.
Yeah, maybe not
maybe
a
could have done with a
100%
little bit less.
I want
but
something that
I
says
get the
leather
artistic
daddy.
direction.
Or
Dude,
dad who
it's
likes
totally-
leather.
It's totally leather daddy. That whole movie is leather daddy.
Yeah, and
Oh, I love that.
the element of realism with that, it pairs well with, just having to say, hey, this is a crazy thing that we're doing. But, at least they're not wearing yellow.
Yeah.
And
pretty
even like
much.
Magneto's helmet is like pretty practical. Like he still has the
Yeah.
helmet, he still has the cape, but it's like a cool robe type cape, and
Yeah.
it works. Like those movies work for me, and
Totally.
So sick. So sick. I want to watch them again. This show made me want to go back through every X-Men movie.
yeah, I have been doing that with my family, and some of them are better than I remember, and some of them are worse than I remember. The only two
Like what?
better than I remember, X-Men Origins Wolverine. Really, actually surprised
Wow.
Really?
at how much I
Right
liked
on.
it. I was watching.
I'm
it.
glad to hear that because I think I've only seen that movie once in theaters.
Nice.
I was a little kid and I loved
Yeah.
it. And now people talk about it like it's terrible, and I'm kind of like, yeah, I guess it probably was, but I
Sure.
don't know.
The thing,
I have no idea.
The one thing that is terrible about it is Deadpool, but he's a pretty small part of it. That it's like, and there's a couple other like kind of weirder things, but Wolverine's relationship with Sabretooth is awesome. His relationship with Stryker, kind of like the little like all the mutants that show up in that as well make total sense. Like they're kind of cameos, but they're also characters that he just meets and interacts with as the movie
Yeah.
goes on. And so it works for me like really well, especially like him getting the
Interesting.
adamantium and just all that stuff is really
I'll
awesome.
I'll have to add it because I genuinely was maybe gonna skip it if I
would
were
watch
to do
it.
a rewatch.
I would watch
so
it.
I'm okay. Cool. I will.
Worse than I remember. Well, about as bad as I remember is The Last Stand, X-Men 3.
Sure.
That one is tough.
I mean, the scene
But
where
it does-
the girl's running through the walls.
There are
and
cool
Juggernaut's
scenes.
chasing her.
Yeah, I
Dude,
know.
Juggernaut's
awesome.
going.
There are definitely
yeah,
cool
dude.
scenes.
Kitty Pryde's
For
running away.
sure.
Yeah.
That's super sick. There's also I love the way that it starts. The very tragic way of the the kid whose dad is like the anti-mutant politician, and he's in the bathroom like trying to
Hacking
saw
his
off
wings.
his wings. It's just like, dude, that is so sad.
Here's the thing with that.
And a very good representation of, part of the allegory
Oh, totally.
of X-Men.
Totally agree.
Like it's
If they would
very
have
good.
made Angel a character in the movie, then it would have been way
Yeah,
better.
that's
the thing. 'Cause
that's
it's like
the
he
shame
has
about
that
it.
scene. He has another scene where they
He has
almost give him
another
the
scene
cure.
where he just like saves
And
someone.
then the
and
third
then-
scene he's
yeah.
in, he swoops in and saves his dad who just got chucked out the building. But he does not
Right.
interact with the X-Men at all. He's not even an X-Man. He never
Interesting.
suits up. The other crazy thing about that movie is it's like kind of a Phoenix movie, but she is sidelined for the majority of
Well,
the movie.
yeah, they
She
kind of
literally
try to do
is
Dark Phoenix a little
standing in the
bit.
background during that final fight and just watching for most of it. And she just
Yeah.
doesn't have many lines. She's just kind of brooding. And oh man,
Man,
again,
that's a shame.
killing Cyclops in the first 15 minutes is just what a terrible decision. And a lot of
Again,
that
spoilers for X-Men.
for X-Men Last Stand, but it's just like they did it because James Marsden, I guess, was wanting to film another movie and he was trying to work with them and they were like, "No, we're just going to kill you in the beginning of the movie." And that
He was like, "Hey, I want to wrap this up. I'm going to be filming Jury Duty in 20 years,
yeah, exactly, like unacceptable. And just
and nothing noteworthy
that-
between now and then."
yeah, and they kill Cyclops in the beginning of the movie, and it's like that being the reason he dies in a movie where he would have been such a cool character to have. His motivations would have made a ton of sense, especially playing off of Wolverine, because and their love triangle.
Well, and it's kind of like a Phoenix, like Jean Grey movie, and he doesn't really get to be present for
he's
it.
not
Like,
present
that's
at all.
ridiculous.
It's so stupid. And then also killing Professor X and like Jean Grey. I'm like, why? What were you thinking with this movie? Like sidelining Angel, and it's like, yeah, they kind of have Colossus and Kitty Pryde, like they kind of integrate those characters, but it's just not effectively done, and it's just such a like Storm and Wolverine are really cool in it. I will say that, like they get some great action, and Magneto is pretty cool, but so much of it is just like, why? It feels like Spider-Man 3. It really does. It feels like the Spider-Man 3 of those X-Men movies. They just neither of those trilogies knew how to wrap it up well, which is a bummer because the trilogy, like the third one, is supposed to be the best one.
Right. You're supposed
However,
to be working towards the third.
all that being said,
It almost never is.
it
but
almost
it
never
should
is, but
be.
it should be.
Well, it's because it's almost never planned as a trilogy.
Exactly.
Especially
Yeah,
back
that's
then.
it.
It was,
Yeah.
we're going to make one and then,
And then
we'll see.
hopefully-
Whoa, people like this? Let's make
Yeah,
it
let's
more.
make
Yeah.
another. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one redeeming quality is Iceman gets his full iced out uniform.
Ice body.
It's for a half a second.
Ice
It doesn't
body.
get nearly enough screen time, but the moments it's on screen are
But it
glorious.
gets any screen time at all.
Any
which is
screen
what
time
you
at all,
can say
I'll
for
take
the other ones.
Yeah, exactly. So he gets it in Days of Future Past too, which is cool. Not fully ice body, but he does the ice trail and stuff, and so got that itch scratch further. There,
Goes
but-
goes Frozone.
I guess what I'm really interested in then is what do you guys think the implementation of the X-Men into the MCU will be now, right?
Dude,
they
that's
have
a
this
good
cool show and it could be totally separate. They keep the show, that's that, and
I
then we
really
have
hope
the
it
live
is.
action MCU versions of these characters. Maybe they try to adapt those. What would you prefer and what do you expect to see? What would you want to see? Like, do you want to see them bring back the cast of those original X-Men movies? I mean, they're getting pretty old.
I would prefer, honestly, at this point, as much as it pains me to say because of how much I love that original cast, I think if you're going live action again, you kind of gotta wipe the
yeah,
slate.
you do definitely agree.
and just act like it's a new thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the things that I'm a little bit nervous about with the upcoming Deadpool and Wolverine is that I don't want them to be like, and now everyone from Fox Universe is here, because I'm kind of like, no, if you're gonna do this in the MCU, I really think that your best bet is to make it feel different and separate.
Well, would
And-
you be upset if they did include those characters? Because obviously in the Deadpool 1 and 2, we've seen cameos of
Yeah.
those characters.
Which
Would
I
do you
love.
think? Do you think that'd be chill for your Deadpool 3, even though now it's
For
technically
Deadpool 3,
MCU?
absolutely.
yeah. Because it's
I
like
want it.
MCU
I'm okay with it in
adjacent,
Deadpool
really.
3.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
But if they use that to say like, okay, now they're all here, and
okay.
that's the X-Men that are here, I'd be like, that's kind of a bummer.
What I predict.
But what
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to hear. Well, I was just going to say, if I were to do it, what I would do, because even from the very beginning of X-Men, like the first movie, the school is well established. There's kind of a big team.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of X-Men. What I would do is, if you're going to bring the X-Men in, have it be like basically in the timeline after like X-Men First Class, after that era. Like, it's a little bit more established. Maybe the school for youngsters is established, but the X-Men are like new-ish, you know? And it's a small team. Maybe even the team, like the beginning team from the animated series. Just small, have it contained. Don't have it be like, okay, and now the X-Men have been around forever and they're just kind of being introduced. Like, I feel like if you're going to introduce it now, you have to give it kind of that reason of why they haven't been around involved in stuff. And the best reason is they're new. Mm-hmm. They're just getting started, you know? And with that, cast not kids, not like young Avengers level.
Yeah, no, but like 20-somethings.
But like 20-somethings,
30s,
30-somethings as the characters.
Yeah.
Like,
Austin
that's
Butler
the
as
approach that I would
Cyclops.
take. Oh, dude, honestly. I'm okay
Well,
with
there's
it.
rumors that like Henry Cavill will be Cyclops, and I'm like,
Ridiculous.
no, I know.
old man.
Yeah, he's
He's
too
old
he's
man.
too
Old
strong,
man.
and he's too old. Like, he's too big to be Cyclops.
Yeah, he's too jacked.
He's very jacked.
But it's that is one
Timothy
thing.
Chalamet as Cyclops.
Yeah, see,
Ugh,
that's
I
too
don't
far
want
other
Timothy
direction.
Chalamet to be part of anything.
I
love him,
if
but I
anything,
don't
Timothy
want him.
Chalamet is going to show up in a DC thing because he just signed a multi-year contract with Warner Brothers.
he could be
so, yeah.
Robin
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
in The Brave and the Bold.
Perchance.
He's too old to be Brave and Bold Robin.
Could be,
Can you imagine? Can you imagine having Timothy Chalamet's face shape and then trying to pass off like, "Oh, no one recognizes me
I have
behind
a-
the mask"? It's like, dude, everyone recognizes you from your chin,
Yeah,
dog.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Which is why
you're not getting away with wearing a
Yeah.
mask.
If Timothy Chalamet could do any X-Men, I think it'd be Nightcrawler.
true. Honestly,
Oh, yeah.
it's not a main enough
Yeah.
character for him to play, but I agree totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
If he could if he would allow himself to say like, hey,
Unless, what if they could make him as big as they want to, right?
they could, yeah,
a
but
new, fresh slate.
I guess, yeah, if they say, hey, Nightcrawler's the leader of the X-Men,
Yeah.
because it's Timothy
Catholic
Chalamet.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
I also wouldn't be opposed still, even to this day, to the Channing Tatum Gambit. Like,
He's still too
I'm
old.
okay with that.
I would say he's
I'm
too
okay
old
with it.
now.
I'm okay.
I would
with
say
it.
he's
I'm okay with
too jacked as well. Similarly,
no, bro.
No.
I
not
Dude,
jacked
Gambit's
enough.
kind of jacked.
he's
Gambit's a little bit
toned,
jacked.
but he's not wide. Like
Gambit could be. Gambit could
Gambit
be
could be.
wide.
He could be wide.
I bet
He could be
He could be
wide
Channing
jacked.
Tatum. He could
Jacked wide.
imagine Gambit. He walks out of a club. He's throwing cards, and then he says, "My name's Jim." That could be so good.
Who would be the best Cyclops cast?
Well, here, let
Who
me
the
get my
hell?
piece out of Jared's first question.
Oh,
Don't ask more
man.
questions. Don't add to the stack.
I already have my answer
So-
to that, which is some no name. Anyway,
Oh,
continue.
okay, cool.
So you,
Good answer.
Yeah, I could. I'm not saying that I would be a bad choice.
that's true.
I am saying they would have to give me a wig.
Hey,
They,
Or
what they
pay
would,
for hair
gave
they,
Michael.
they would
they
also
gave Michael Keaton
honestly
a
what they would have
for
to
Batman.
do is
yeah, he's bald.
I mean, there you go. You could do that. You could play the founder.
I could play them.
You could
That could be my MCU hero. I'm the founder.
The
I make
founder.
McDonald's good.
What's your mutation?
My
I
mutation
created,
is that I create McDonald's.
Well, I created McDonald's as you know it.
If my BPM gets to a certain point, then I invent McDonald's.
Yeah, that's an awesome power. People are like,
Yeah.
what is happening?
They also just might not cast you as Cyclops because it's not a big enough role for you.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
So-
true. The leader
I'm more of a
the
Professor
X-Men.
X.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm more of a Professor X. I'm a Galactus. I'm a
Yeah.
Professor X.
Yeah.
I get it.
But in terms of introducing the X-Men into the MCU, the show X-Men 97 did a great job of saying, hey, here's the X-Men. They exist. They're around. You don't have to have seen any of previous X-Men iterations, and you just get it. Like, they just do a good job.
Yeah.
Like, especially that first episode, like, hey, here's what Wolverine's powers are. Here's what Cyclops' powers are. Here's Jean Grey. Here's Gambit. Like, it really does a good job of showcasing and introducing all these characters and saying,
Jean
hey,
Grey.
oh, true, Goblin Queen, Madeline
Maddie
Pryor.
P, baby.
And so that is definitely a way to go, where it's just like, hey, the X-Men have been around for a long time. Here's a full roster. There, and that's another thing I like that X-Men 97 did. There are so many mutants just out there that just have been a part of the X-Men that aren't right now, like Iceman and Angel and Havoc and Cable, all these people that they interacted with maybe in the show or before the show that are just existent in the world. That could be a cool way to do it. In terms of like the OG X-Men cast showing up, I would say it's almost a guarantee that some of them show up in some form in Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah.
It's like with Hugh Jackman, it kind of just will make sense, even if it's like as a flashback or something. I could also see them being in Secret Wars, the like Avengers Secret Wars, and then that being kind of all the MCU or the greater Marvel swan song of saying like, hey, you know, it was cool to have them back for maybe a couple cameos, but now they're gone and they can't come back, whatever it will be.
Yeah.
I don't see them making them the main X-Men. They're just too old, and you know, we've gotten enough time with those characters. So
And honestly,
clean sweep.
probably too expensive.
Yeah, well,
Like,
especially
they
Hugh
probably
Jackman.
charge so much to be able to come back to do that stuff. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
And so I can see Hugh Jackman and Deadpool being like a decent part of Secret Wars, and the other X-Men showing up in some capacity, and then just going from there. Channing Tatum Gambit, who knows? Maybe he shows up as a cameo.
Hey, it would
Dude,
be
I
pretty
could see
cool.
him in Secret Wars. Channing
That'd be
Tatum
cool. I'd be
Gambit.
down to see it. Like, honestly, Gambit is one of my favorite X-Men. His casting was always weird to me, but you know, we never saw it, so there's plenty of other weird
probably a
casting.
good reason.
That when
guy
Timothée
that was
Chalamet was
cast
announced as
in-
Paul Atreides, I was like, ugh, I hate that. And then I ended up loving it. So it's
And
like,
he
you know,
crushed it.
don't judge it until you see it, I guess. And so if we do get to see it, then that'd be sweet. But who knows? We'll maybe a cameo somewhere. But in terms of Cyclops
MCU
casting,
do it.
MCU, I think just multiverse thing somehow. The mutants get folded in, and
Could also, well, but they've already established that mutants exist in this world.
That is true.
Kamala Khan.
But it'd be
Yeah.
it'd be such a tough sell, because also they already tried doing that with Eternals of like, hey, we've been around the whole time, we just haven't done
Yeah.
anything.
Well, but they said that Kamala is like the first.
No,
one.
yeah, a mutant definitely. Mutants do exist like in the MCU, but in terms of hey, the X-Men have been around in the MCU world the
Right.
whole time.
I don't think they're going to do that.
No, I don't either.
I think the mutants are a new thing, but I think they're coming from this world.
Well, because Namor was also a mutant as well, so
Yeah. Did they explicitly say
he
that?
says
in
it.
the
Yeah,
thing?
he uses like, I'm a mutant
That's
or
sick.
something.
I love that.
He uses the word mutant specifically, which
Yeah.
oh, glorious.
Dude, honestly, one of the best parts of the Miss Marvel show, which I actually liked a fair amount.
I've heard it's fun. I
didn't-
just
it
never
wasn't
watched it.
bad. But in the last episode, when they tell her she's a mutant, which feels super forced, right after that, the music goes boo doo 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 doo. And you're like, oh,
Let's
sweet,
go.
that's cool.
Yeah.
anyway.
What about
yeah,
What about Mr. Beast?
yeah.
As
Mr.
Cyclops.
Beast is
No, I'm just
Cyclops.
kidding.
Oh,
Oh,
No, I'm just kidding. I was kidding. I was
You
talking about.
imagine.
I was talking about Kelsey Grammer.
oh yeah, that they have that to pay out. I
'Cause-
forgot about that, dude.
They've gotta. I mean, they don't have
better
to.
do it with prosthetics.
They
really-
better do it with prosthetics.
Hopefully that gets paid off in Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool just shows up and,
And then
kills
closed.
all of those characters. He's just like,
Yeah.
all right,
Kills.
lays into all of them.
Kills. Rambo.
Rambo's mom
Chick.
and her, and then Beast, and then walks out, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, all right,
But-
fine.
I want to ask you, who's your Cyclops casting?
Viggo Mortensen.
Who's your Scott Summers? Viggo Mortensen. Yeah.
Probably.
He's not too old at all.
Oh, that's a good question.
No. I probably want
Did you
someone.
know they looked at him for Doctor Strange?
Interesting.
That'd be
on the
pretty
show.
He
cool.
could have been good.
That'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
It was him, Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh
and
yeah,
Benedict
Joaquin
Cumberbatch.
Phoenix.
Interesting.
But Scott Derrickson recently tweeted, and he was basically like, "Yeah, I talked to Joaquin once, and both of us were like, yeah,
This is not for
isn't
me. Yeah.
right." Yeah.
Yeah. I'd probably want an actor as Scott Summers who is youngish,
yeah.
who maybe has had some experience working in higher budget films and is maybe more recognizable. I think the obvious choice is Ezra Miller.
Oh, no
Oh,
shot.
that would be awesome.
Oh, man.
That would be awesome. The squirreliest Scott Summers you've seen yet.
He's so funny.
He's so funny, plus cool.
Dude. Oh, man, Ezra Miller.
Someone
Terrible,
like
awful.
like a Paul Mescal or like a Jacob Elordi. I don't think either of them would be great fits, but someone like that,
Yeah.
just kind of that vibe of like the cool younger 20-something that youths are liking nowadays.
Dude. How about Jeremy Allen White as Wolverine?
Honestly,
that'd be
that's
good.
pretty good.
That'd be very
That's
good.
pretty good.
That's pretty
Okay.
good. And have him be like the comic accurate kind of weirdo
Yeah, weirdo like
guy,
ugh.
because
He
Jeremy
would be
Allen
great.
White
He would
is
be-
jacked
That's a
and
weirdo.
honestly
So good.
super weird
Yeah.
looking.
Yeah,
Like,
he'd be
Yeah.
awesome Wolverine.
Bro, and we've
Yeah,
seen
he
him
would be-
jacked, and he looks
He looks
great.
great,
Yeah,
dude, bro.
he
Freaking
looks
throw
awesome.
some claws on that boy. Awesome.
Throw some claws and a mask on.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, dude.
The
And give him a bunch of beers and give him his keys.
with what you were saying earlier, Jared, that we didn't really address, but with the success, like you were saying, like what if they fold this exact X-Men team into the live action?
Yeah.
No, I was trying to not address that.
Oh, okay, well I'm going to anyway.
Okay.
I
Thank you.
pray they do not do that. I hope they just let the show be the show and let it be really good
Yeah.
and cool and independent on its own. And then you can have multiple versions of the X-Men going at the same time. Who cares? People get it. Like, especially if
Especially
it's
with the
animated and live
division of
action.
animated.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But my fear is after the success of X-Men 97, Bob Iger is going to go perhaps what if we made this the live action and we just said, hey, you like this show? What if it was live action? And that's what we do now. Just let things exist on their own. Let them be independently cool and successful. If they try and fold this in, it would just, and similarly,
It's got to
like
be one big universe, bro. It's got to be all
the
connected. It's gotta
multiverse,
be-
sure. Because the Watcher,
Her web
the
connects them
Watcher
all.
has a cameo in X-Men 97. I don't know if
In
you
the
guys saw
Genosha,
that.
yeah,
Right
I
before
saw
all
that.
that crap goes down, you see his silhouette in the stars, like, which is pretty fun. Like,
Which is
awesome,
great.
perfect.
Yeah, I love
like,
that.
oh man, Watcher's here. He's watching for some reason. Something's about to go down.
And people were like, "Oh, it's connected to the MCU," and I'm like, "No, the Watcher is a
Well, okay,
Marvel."
Yeah, it
character.
is technically. It's like
connected to
multiverse.
Marvel.
Yeah,
But
Yeah.
but not exactly. Like they're not going to show up.
But it's like also it's just the Watcher is a character that they'll use as a plot device in comics like
Yeah.
that to kind of
And
indicate
hey,
like,
something's about to
something's
happen.
going
yeah.
on.
Something important.
Yeah, like
And he's not going to intervene, but he's going to watch.
Yeah.
But with that, who like kind of with that, like bringing up Jeremy Allen White as Wolverine and kind of the Cyclops stuff, like who do you want the roster to be that they introduced the X-Men MCU? Because I don't know if you guys saw this, but they recently announced like there is an X-Men movie in active development. They're looking for a director. They hired a writer. Like they're moving forward with it. Who knows?
I could
when
direct.
that- yeah.
I could direct.
First feature is the
There you go.
$250 million budgeted X-Men MCU movie.
I know how to do it.
I agree.
I'd be good for it. I
But what roster
So-
do you want to see show up in live action?
I
Let's say
want
5 or 6.
First of all, I want to make sure that Professor X and Magneto are both present.
Totally.
I could totally see a world where they do kind of like we're not going to go the Magneto route. We're going to kind of establish the X-Men and then kind of introduce that later. No way.
way.
I want Magneto in from day one. I want obviously Cyclops, Jean Grey, Wolverine. I also would just like
Jubilee.
Iceman.
Jubilee.
Yeah, I would love to see Jubilee get murdered in the first 5 minutes.
Deadpool.
Directed by James
One of her
Gunn.
fireworks goes off bad and it blows her head up, and then they're all just like, "Oh no, Jubilee's gone. Our team is equally powerful now as it was before she died."
Sunspot's like, my girlfriend blows himself up. He flies into the sun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
A la
then
Icarus.
the team is like, "Great, we've lost nothing." But I would like to see Iceman because I like Iceman.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, like Rogue and then cut it there. Like small team, something like that. I would be way down for just something small and intimate. But also Gambit would be cool. It's a bummer because every X-Men character is so
Yeah.
cool that as soon as you think of them, you're like, well, I also want
them to show up
because
and
they're
be around.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's hard to come up with a list, but that's probably mine. Cyclops, Jean Grey, Wolverine, Iceman, Rogue.
Nice. Interesting roster, but very cool.
It's kind of non-traditional on the back end, of Iceman and Rogue, but I just like them, and change up their relationships a little bit.
I have
to make it make sense.
If you like that roster, I've got a suggestion for you. X-Men 2000 has that exact roster plus Storm.
Oh yeah. Whoa. Oh, and Storm. How did I not say Storm? I also want Storm.
Yeah, I think so too.
And
Those ones
how about this? Janelle Monáe as Storm. Come on.
She would be a great Storm.
Come on. She would be awesome. She would be really cool.
All right, Niall, you gotta erase your calendar that says days without obsessing over Janelle Monáe. Erase that 1, put a 0.
Oh, dude, I got
You got to 1.
It was a long streak, but dude, she's the best.
She's awesome. I truly don't really have a preference.
Yeah, just
who
who.
they
Yeah,
include.
fair.
Just whoever.
Because they're all cool, like Niall said.
They really are awesome. I'd like to see. I like this show because, I mean, we talked a little bit about how there are more seasons of this before. I didn't watch those. I will never watch those. I tried to go. I looked through the seasons on Disney Plus, and I watched there was one that was Wolverine and Captain America fight Nazis.
Sick.
So,
I remember that.
So I'm
one.
like, I want to watch a little bit of this, and I was like, ugh, this is old.
Yeah.
It's cool.
And so I stopped watching. But I liked seeing Gambit, and I like seeing this version of Rogue, and I like seeing Morph because I don't know these characters super well, and I liked having a fresh cast, a fresh ensemble. So I'd love to see the introduction of 2 or maybe even 3 just unknown characters or lesser,
real
less popular
C-listers.
characters. That would be awesome.
Morph would be cool, but too expensive.
Yeah.
Because then you're paying
Sure.
for all of the actors that Morph has to be.
Turned into. They did a good job of Mystique with that because she only became characters in the movies. Mystique,
Just
just
randos,
random
yeah.
other
Or other people in the movie. That's true.
The roster I would love to see, similar to what Niall was talking about, where maybe the X-Men have been around for a bit, but they're still relatively new. And with that, I would love to see, Professor X and Magneto, and then Cyclops, Jean Grey, Angel
On the team together.
Yeah. Well, Magneto, maybe
That'd
as
be cool.
as one of the mentors with. Kind of like they did with X-Men First Class, and in theory,
that'd be
this
sick.
is the First Class is who I want to see, the First Class from the comics of Jean Grey, Cyclops, Iceman, Beast, and Angel. Those 5,
Sick.
and no Wolverine.
Beast, I want to.
I think it would be really cool to say hey, this first one, no Wolverine. He'll come around eventually.
Yeah.
At the same time, it'd be cool if he wasn't it, but if they keep those core 5, and they don't have to, but it would just be cool. The X-Men purist in me would just love to see that core cast represented. Then the OG Brotherhood of Magneto, and I think honestly Mastermind and
Toad.
Avalanche, Toad, just kind of weird goon. Mutants, just whatever. It'd be just cool to see
Goontons.
Cretins, exactly.
That's not what I said.
I don't. Whatever you said.
Munchkins, exactly.
And they've been around, so there's no origin crop to it. Maybe some we're still a newer team, but it would be cool to get that version of the X-Men and then introduce the mutants beyond that, because with the first X-Men movie from 2000, they do a great job of hey, the X-Men exist already, but we're seeing it through Rogue and Wolverine's eyes as they're introduced to the X-Men, which is super effective in my opinion. I would prefer to be in the X-Men rather than coming from an outside source in with the newer stuff. But then with X2, you introduce Nightcrawler, and he's a really important addition to the team, and he's awesome.
Oh, and that scene of him in the
The-
White
oh,
House,
dude.
dude, at the very beginning.
X2 is awesome.
So cool.
Yep. All that stuff is great.
As a kid, I would watch that scene over and over again.
So sick.
I would
That's
watch
awesome.
that scene and then I would rewind it on my portable DVD player that I was watching it on for some reason, and then I would watch it again. Oh, the best.
Awesome. So that's kind of, X-Men, future of X-Men. But the future is bright thanks to X-Men 97. We
Yes.
got it.
Thank you, X-Men
Shout out to
97.
X-Men.
We got some good
97.
X-Men content from
Thank you,
Disney.
X-Men
Thank
97.
the
X-Men
heavens.
97.
Yeah, it's super cool. All it cost me was $10,000 in debt.
Yeah, that's like totally fine for you. Like totally manageable.
Thank you.
Only
Premier
30% APY, you'll be fine. We'll
Cashback
catch
credit
up.
card.
Yeah, and Jared got 75
I
bucks.
don't want the platinum membership anymore.
It's
Too
good. There
bad,
is an annual fee of $200.
Did you know that
Yeah.
if you die, your credit card debt goes
That's
away
true.
and it doesn't get passed on
That's
anymore?
true. Not student loans, though.
No.
I'm just saying that's a thing. That's a
Just
fact.
put all your student loans on a credit card then.
Ah, there you go. Some credit cards
you
give
got
you
a
a
free
high enough
education.
limit
If
that
I'm
you
gonna
could.
get free education. I think if I ever get like diagnosed with something, I'm gonna open a credit card and I'm just gonna let my friends like get cool stuff for
Aw.
themselves.
That's,
Thanks, Niall.
that's
Yeah, you're welcome.
really nice.
Assuming we can be
Yeah.
two of those people.
Yeah.
I would have to check my list.
Just to double check and see if you guys are allowed.
Maybe. What about Kel? Is she on? Does she have a credit card that?
You know, I wouldn't. Does she have a credit card with a number?
And
And
did
what
you read
is
what
that
the
number?
What is that number? Could you read it? Well, I think
Uh,
maybe if we all pooled our money together, we could slowly help Kel pay off her credit card debt. It's the new bit.
Well, you know what everyone could do is everyone could support us on Patreon, $3 a month.
That'll
and
slowly help her
What
chip
what
away.
helps her more than money, and what helps her more than penicillin or any of the painkillers that she has to take for her many ailments
Shout outs.
is getting shout outs.
Oh, yeah.
And she
True.
gets those every week from the following people. Shout out to Kel, Roan Oberg, Nick Bell, Michael Polonsik, Easy Law, Britton Inkley, Riley Allen. I don't know why that got stuck in my mind.
Riley Allen.
Ian James Martin, and Hannah Steve. Shout out to Kel from all of those people. You want to do it too? Support us on Patreon, $3 a month. You shout out my mom.
Guys, and $3 a month. If you guys, that's less than one. That's like one fizz drink, only for one of us. We've got to split that 3 ways. So it's
It
not
is
a lot
more
of money.
than it's more than the ASPCA asks to like take care of those dogs.
What? What even is
How much
that?
do they ask?
You know the commercials with like Sarah McLachlan
Yeah, like
singing like in
in
the arms of the angel.
of
Yeah.
an angel. How much
It's
do they
like,
ask for?
I think they used to ask for $1 with inflation. Who knows?
$100.
Yeah, we're gonna ask for the same amount she did, but just
Inflated.
adjusted for inflation.
Considering inflation.
So $3 a month.
and
it really
you'd be
means a
helping
lot to
out
us.
3 pretty sad dogs.
That is $1 to each of us. Then.
They
$1
won't get
to
put
each
down
dog.
with that money, but
Nice.
they're one day closer.
Yep.
Well, we'll see you on the bus credits.
Yeah, okay. We love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye, Bazinga.
Oh, bye bye, Bazinga, of course. I can't forget.